Dear brothers and sisters, may the peace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you both now and forever. I'd like to begin today's reflection from the first reading, and I'd like to give us the background to this first reading. If you look at the prophecy of Isaiah, it can be divided into two or three, but basically into three. Our first reading today is part of the third part of Isaiah because we're reading from chapter 58. From chapter 56 to chapter 66, we are reminded or we see clearly that the Israelites returned to Jerusalem. After their exile, they returned to Jerusalem. When they returned to Jerusalem, it was a moment that they were seeking for reassurance from God. Reassurance that God was going to fulfill his promises. You remember, God made many promises to the Israelites about restoration. So when they returned, they were praying for the fulfillment of these promises. It was a moment they were looking forward to the faithfulness of God that they believed endures forever. And they were really praying. It's not just praying, they were also fasting. Now, even though they were praying and they were fasting, things were not changing as they expected. And now God addresses them the reason why the change they expected, the changes are not happening as they expected them. God reminds them that they have been praying with the wrong motive. Secondly, they have been fasting in the wrong way. Look at what God says, that they fast, but even though they are fasting, they have no good relationship with one another. Even though that they are fasting, they quarrel with one another. Even though they are fasting, they were not practicing justice. Even though they were fasting, they were so wicked to one another. And God deliberately and categorically prescribed for them the kind of fasting pleasing to Him, God. I'd like to mention this from the reading today. He says, "This rather is the fasting that I delight in, releasing those bound unjustly." There are many of us who are carrying people in our hearts. That's the reality of unforgiveness. Lenten season, the fasting, the best fasting we can do is to let go, to set free the people we are holding in our hearts, to forgive them. The secondly says that untying the tongues of yoke. Yoke is like something like connects people. There are many of us who are connected to very terrible things. And we have also connected people to things we are not sure of, like people who spread rumors, people who try to destroy the image and reputation of other people. Untie them. Untie them to things you have said about them that you are not even sure of the things you have said about someone. You say somebody did this, but you have no empirical proof that this person did this. But you have condemned that person even though you are not sure whether the person did that or not. Number 3, it says, setting free the oppressed. Are you oppressing someone through your gestures, through your gossip, through your actions? Are there people that you are oppressing by spreading rumors, unconfirmed piece of information about them? Set them free. Again, it says, by sharing your bread with the hungry. This is the moment that we practice generosity. Generosity is an attitude of fasting. Again, God says, this is the kind of fasting that I approve of. Sheltering the oppressed, giving shelter to the homeless, clothing the naked when you see them, and not turning your back on your own. If you do these things, it means you are fasting properly. And this is what we are taught many times, that fasting is not just about fasting from food. We can also fast from wickedness. We can fast from injustice. We can fast from so many ways that we destroy the happiness and the joy of other people. Fasting is not confined to food, to drinks, to meat. No. We can fast, we can abstain from so many ways we cause trouble, so many ways we make the lives of other people hell on earth. So many ways that we discomfort other people. We can fast from them. We can fast from quarreling people. We can fast from getting angry with people. We can fast from bitterness. We can fast from prejudice. There's so many things we can fast from. Anything that destroys our relationship with the other person, we can abstain from those things. We can fast from those things. And if you look at the gospel today, you will see one of those things that destroy relationship, and that is unhealthy comparison. There are many of us who have this attitude of comparing ourselves with other people. Why should I compare myself with other people? Why should I try to pattern my life according to another person? The best and the only person who is my model is Jesus of Nazareth. I don't want to be like you. You should not try to be like me. We should try to be like ourselves and try to be like God. God should be our model. So if we have this attitude like the disciples of John and the Pharisees who came to Jesus asking, why is your disciples, why are they not fasting? They were trying to engage in unhealthy comparison. In this Lenten season, we can also fast from this attitude of comparing ourselves, unhealthy comparison. In fact, when we compare ourselves with other people, for me, it's an insult to God who created each and every one of us unique. I cannot be you. You cannot be me. We have to really acknowledge the wisdom of God in making each and every one of us unique. When I try to become exactly like you, I'm not saying it's wrong to borrow good things you see in other people, but don't try to become 100% like another person, but become 100% like yourself. Become 100% like God. So there's no need of, trying to impose yourself on other people. Be yourself. My dear brothers and sisters, when we look at the first reading, we see clearly some instances that were mentioned about the wrong way we fast. And the right ways were given by God through the prophet. And we have mentioned that already. So, and I'm saying that in the gospel we see one example of the things we should fast from. And that is that unhealthy comparison. Unhealthy comparison makes our lives miserable. Do not engage in that. And you can see also that the meaning of fasting is also made clear by the statement of Jesus. Why do we fast? We fast simply to mortify our senses, to mortify our body in order to be in a better disposition. And that disposition is not the end itself. The disposition is a means towards the end. And the end is to be in fellowship, to be in communion with God. That's why we fast. So the disciples of Jesus did not need to fast because Jesus was physically present with them. Jesus was basically having fellowship with them. So why would they fast? They don't need to fast. In the same way, when we enter into relationship with God, we experience that joy because Jesus uses the example of a wedding feast. When you enter really into this union, when you fast and you are able to have a better disposition and you enter into a fellowship with Jesus, you will see that your life will be transformed. You will see that your perspective will change. You will see that your orientation will change. You will see that, you will experience that joy and happiness because the presence of Christ is the presence of joy and happiness. So, dear brothers and sisters, as we continue our journey through this Lenten season, let us fast from those things that destroy our relationship with God. Let us fast from those things that destroy our relationship with our brothers and sisters, with our family members, with our neighbors, and with everyone that we encounter. Thank you for listening to this reflection. Please do well to share this video. God bless you.